6:30, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Steve Babbitt.
Here.
Sarah Zane. Here. Paul Emerald. Jimmy Gonzalez.
Yep.
Okay, we have a quorum. First order of business is approval of the minutes for the meeting held April 2nd, 2019. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
There's a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to skip down to item number 4. Rick Wood, Lynn Area Chamber of Commerce, request to use High Rock Tower, June 21st, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Actually, we changed that date to June 20th.
June 20th.
Thursday night, if that's okay.
Okay, so why don't you give the commission an idea what's going on?
Sure. So, just being a Lynn guy, I think that High Rock is a fantastic place, and I think it would just be a special place for the chamber to gather. The business community, I welcome all the members of the community, anyone that really wants to join us that night. We'll send an e-blast to our membership, and a lot of city people on the membership that aren't particularly exactly business owners, but just really kind of a celebration of High Rock Tower and getting people up there. I've gone up there myself luckily. I've never been to any kind of a function up there, never been up in the tower. So I had a nice chat with Lisa, and I'm gonna have a police detail up there. I'm gonna have a porta potty up there. I'm gonna have a professional liquor service place. George McCabe runs his liquor service. He's gonna come on board and handle that. And if we circle the liquor liability, I did get my own personal general liability policy for just because it's the Wood Insurance Agency that put it on, so we got a policy. That's the only little paperwork I have, but just so I can show you that for the heck of it.
Okay.
It's a $1 million liability policy. You guys can keep that if you want. Just basically, it's
Want that?
It's $1 million liability policy just for our protection,
Yep.
at the agency. And what was the other thing? The police detail. Oh, you have the DPW worker is going to be there, and that person will open the tower and close it for us. And I'm hoping to maybe if you or someone from the city could, like that policy there is for up to 100 people. I don't know. I mean, I wonder what your thoughts are on what kind of a limit we would have. I don't know what kind of response we're gonna get either,
Yeah.
so I mean, but I don't wanna have something just, if it was wildly popular and we had it's gonna be by RSVP only, for starters, so, unless we only had like 50 people and then another 25 people walked up and we, there were business community people, we'd say, yeah, come on in, but if somehow it was, a lot of people wanted to come, I would put a cap at 100. I just figured that's a reasonable amount. I don't want to have any kind of crowd control problems or anything like that. And then the police detail, having them there, if in case something happened, it'd be good to have them. I'm trying to get 2 cops just to have a presence up there. It's going to be a summer night. Kids in the neighborhood. You don't know what kind of. I just think it'll be great to have a police detail up there, just to have that presence. And basically, we just want to have a nice time. We have these business after hour events, and they're just for a chance for the business community to come to get together and network. And we usually have it at a restaurant. But like I said, I just think that High Rock would be kind of a special event.
Be something different.
Yeah.
Rain or
Nice.
shine.
Huh?
Rain or shine.
Oh, we actually picked the following Thursday.
Okay.
If we're going to promote that, if we had a rain event, if we had a rain issue, so.
What about parking?
Parking is kind of an issue, I guess.
Reach out to KIPP Academy
Okay,
and
yeah.
see if you can get some parking.
Yes, right, Kip, and there's a lot down below too that belongs to Girls Inc., I think.
Correct.
So people, if they were fit and they wanted to, it's a lovely, walk up the stairway there, and so there could be that. We'll probably put something about that in, carpool if you can. We'll talk to KIPP Academy, we'll talk to the Girls Inc., parking down below. I think there's some parking up there in the circle, and the Acorn Street that comes up there. But that's probably pretty crowded too, right? People will be home from work and so forth, but, so we'll encourage people to maybe carpool, come together, and then we'll mention, I will reach out to KIPP Academy if you want to have that as a site for people to go to. So.
Lisa, do you have any other concerns? Or?
No, I met with Rick and we spoke over the phone, so pretty much covered everything in his letter to us.
Any questions?
Okay, I still have one. What about the alcohol?
He gets a 1 day.
This is a one-day permit.
Yeah.
That's right, I'm
Park?
gonna go to,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Gina Rowe, the city clerk, and I wanted to get the permission from you guys before I went and did that, but I am gonna, I'll provide you that copy of that when I get it, but I definitely, you know, my objective is to get everybody's permission, you know, and just get everyone's blessing, you know, whatever you suggest is, I'm all in for it. I don't wanna have any problems, you know,
Yeah.
I wanna have a nice evening, and, you know, something we can remember and celebrate High Rock. It's really just such a beautiful place, and I hope you guys can join us if you're free that evening.
So we don't usually allow it in another place, but this is a very controlled event. So I don't have a problem with the alcohol part.
You'll just be beer and wine,
Just bear in mind.
and it's only a 2-hour event, so, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it might be, I'm not gonna like lock it down at 7:30, but probably, I don't wanna go in late either.
Yeah.
So, I don't expect, I think what I'd do would probably get 2 tickets, and then they can buy after that, maybe so, you know, but it's a professional service too, they're not gonna be like,
Right,
crazy, so.
So they can have a little tent, they can set up a little tent for that, or put it inside the tower, or?
I don't know really what the best place to do would be. It'd be great to have a walkthrough.
We can do a walkthrough.
That'd be great. I'd appreciate a walkthrough and get your take on it. Maybe we'll get together on email, and then I'll send you email. I was hoping to bring the chamber staff up too, because they'll be working with me. You know, the logistics. We'll have a table set up, probably at the what do they call it? The railings in, and it starts to walk up. I'll set up a table there and just be looking for, you know, it's good to just check people as they come in, you know, make sure they're on the list, or if they're not, you know, if this is, you know, chamber member or that type of thing, so.
Sarah, you got any questions, or?
No.
Jimmy, any more? Somebody would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Okay,
Well,
all set. Dave?
Appreciate it.
Okay,
All
take
right.
care.
Thank you all. I'll be in touch, Lisa. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, just so they, yeah. Let's do a walkthrough with Captain Ready too.
Pardon me?
Captain Chris Ready too. We'll do a walkthrough with
Who?
Captain
Yeah,
Chris
okay,
Ready.
that's right. I'm supposed to call them back like
Yeah.
3 days before. I already called them, but they said they don't get till close, so,
Okay,
but
yeah.
hopefully we'll get some.
Alright.
Okay, at our last meeting, there was Attorney Jim Lamana was here. We had some discussion on the project which the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission, they need a piece of McManus Field for a pump station, and in return, through Article 97, they had to come up with a replacement for it in equal value. So tonight, we have Emerson Olander here from Santec, and Bob Fennell from the Water and Sewer Commission is here, and they're gonna make a presentation on what's going on.
Great. Thank you for having us. Nice to meet you all.
Okay.
My name is Emerson Olander. I'm a professional engineer and a certified sustainability professional with Stantec Consulting. We've been working with the commission for about a year now, a little longer, on a roughly $80 million combined sewer separation program to relieve combined sewer overflows to Lynn Harbor. We've, through a pre-design exercise, found a preferred location for a stormwater pump station that will be necessary for a separated stormwater system that's going to be constructed in West Lynn. Parts of that project are already under design. The proposed site is indicated in the materials that we handed out earlier in the week. I hope that you all had a chance to look at that information. I wasn't going to spend too much time about regurgitating what's in the information we provided, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I did bring some additional information for you to consider as well. That was emailed out earlier today. This is kind of a supplement to the information that you have in front of you, and it looks like you have some of that
Yeah,
information now.
this
So you've got copies of everything.
Yeah.
Great. So if you'd like additional, we've got those. The stormwater pump station is proposed to occupy around 4 acres of fenced area, the southwest corner of the site. We've proposed a land disposition of McManus Field that would be transferred over to the commission for them to construct and operate the facility there. Since that site was identified, we've had a number of meetings with members of the Park Department, Parks Commission, the City Solicitor's Office, as well as Lynn Water and Sewer, in an attempt to find a suitable mitigation site for that. And I think we've come to a common agreement that the opportunity of the Saugus, or calling the Saugus River Park, meets a number of objectives of the Parks and Recreation Department, and is what you have in front of you today. What we're hoping to achieve this evening is a vote by the Parks Commission to proceed with the Article 97 land disposition. We have a number of other votes we need to obtain with the City Council as well as with the Conservation Commission. So with that, Bob, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we've worked well together, I think, with Steve and Lisa and the rest of the city councils, board council, to try to identify an area. We've looked at several sites, but I think this one is something that is going to enrich the park recreation's portfolio of parks and open space. I think it just finishes off that section of the city down on the Saugus River. And I think after it's started and completed, I think it'll be a great focal point for access to people to enjoy the natural wonders of that section of the city and the Saugus River.
Yeah. Let's talk about this site first, because there's been some questions just about the field orientation and stuff like that, and changing around some lighting. So can you just quickly go over that so everybody on the commission understands?
Yes. So we've had a number of discussions with Lisa, April, and Steve yourself, trying to reassure Parks and Recreation Department about what area that we need for the pump station and how that might impact use of the field. And so I think as it's currently laid out, there is 2 ball field, I think softball field, baseball field, a football field that also doubles as soccer practice field, and then a second soccer practice field. That second soccer practice field is to the furthest west of the site, and at the time of construction, there would be a roughly 1 acre or so work zone that would need to be fenced off for construction of the facility. That would be for approximately a 2-year duration. During that time, that soccer practice field would not be available for use, although it could be slid over and potentially made a little bit smaller during that time period, and occupy some of the green space between the ball field and the construction zone. And then after the construction is completed, we will be able to completely restore the field. We would be relocating, improving some of the field lighting, the athletic lighting that's at the park, and restripe the soccer field as well, and that would allow the field to go back in the same location where it is right now. I think we've kind of come to a common understanding that that southwest corner of the field, while it was previously used as an infield for a baseball diamond, it's kind of surplus to the available land that's at the park. So you can still accommodate all the types of field activities, just that, how it's arranged would be more limited based on where the pump station is located.
Jimmy, did you have some questions on the building and stuff like that? He can see this from his window, so.
Okay.
Yes. How long is that going to take?
The construction?
Yes.
It's about a 2-year process. Most of the facility is underground. And so that's why we provided the architectural renderings, which were also included in that package. So the elements that will be above ground will actually be constructed last. The deeper elements, which are on the second page of the handout after it's that white, black and white plan, that site plan shows an underground series of vaults and piping, a underground wet well, and an underground valve vault. And all those elements, particularly the wet well, are relatively deep. And so it's like a deep foundation that you might build for a skyscraper. So we've got to actually excavate down 40 plus feet to build that. There'll be piles that will be constructed. That whole process will take about a year. And then Once that's done, the concrete work would occur, and then we would then begin building the elements that you see from the surface, which would be the asphalt paving, the fencing, the electrical building, and then there's an emergency power system as well.
So start of this construction project, if everything goes along, would be, what, in about 2 years it would begin?
Yes, yes. That's how it was mapped out in our preliminary design schedule, and we're continuing to evolve that, but it wouldn't be any sooner than
How
Now-
soon you gonna start it?
2 years.
2 years, they're talking 2 years.
that. The earliest would be approximately 2 years from now.
2 years to start it?
Until we start, yes.
I thought that was soon. Yeah, because we needed to get rid of that water that flooding there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this
yeah.
is gonna help resolve the flooding too.
Oh, yes.
That's frankly one of the reasons why that site was selected, is because, if you've been out there during heavy rains, that intersection, it's actually a geographic low point in the whole Westland
Yeah.
neighborhood. And so we chose that specifically so that, you put the pump station where the water wants to go, essentially.
Emerson, I have a quick question. With the construction, you just spoke that 40, 50 feet you're gonna dig. You're gonna fence that whole area off. There's gonna be
Yes.
like real secure fencing that kids can't like knock
Yeah,
down
given its location, we would certainly explore, additional safety systems to address those types of concerns. So we typically have an 8-foot-high construction fence that has filtered fabric for screening, but there are other things that can be done to increase the safety. That's something that-
Will you have a trailer on site there? or-
There would be a trailer for both the contractor and the engineer, probably likely 2 trailers.
Now, Lisa, we've had some questions about tech. We feel that we can accommodate their needs when this construction starts.
Well, it all depends when they're gonna start. I mean, if it's the springtime, obviously, yes, baseball and softball, we shouldn't have any issues, but any additional adult events, probably no. It all depends. We have to look at it when the time comes.
But for the things that the high school has traditionally been using that field for, because it's mostly practices.
Practice fields,
There's
yeah.
no organized games. They play their
Frazier.
soccer games at Manning Field.
Mhm.
So mostly the softball field and the baseball field probably will not be bothered but during this project. It's just that little corner piece that was traditionally used as a soccer field. Could we move the soccer field for the time being out to the middle in the outfield of the one that,
Well, the football will be practicing in between where the soccer and.
Yeah, so that's not a
softball,
problem.
That's not a problem?
Yeah.
The soccer field, we'll just have to, I'm sure we can realign that. That's something we're gonna have to mark out. We can do that.
Yeah, we did walk the site and kind of envisioned what the construction zone might be.
Yeah.
And there's a sizable amount of land between that
Yeah, I think we can
and
do
the
that.
ball fields. That's really how.
Yeah. Okay, so you
I mean,
don't,
they're not gonna have 2 soccer fields, they're only gonna have 1 soccer
Right.
field because of construction.
right. So you don't think there'll be that much disruption to what they do down there?
Time will tell.
Time will
You know,
One thing we can do is, if we get a better feel for the athletic calendar, we can, kind of say, we're not gonna start construction, try to preserve essentially a playing season. So we can try to stagger it so that we start, right after a season ends, for example, those kinds of things.
May, June would be the perfect time to start.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Football starts in August.
There was a lady came a few months ago, about 3 or 4 months ago. She was talking about the tank with water contaminated.
The underground
Is that
storage
the-
tanks that are on
Is
the
that
site.
the same company or that's a different company?
Different company.
A different.
Different company, the Community Development, EDIC, and we hired a grant writer to go out for a grant to clean up any underground storage tanks that were there. That was a totally different company, it was from the EDIC.
And 2 different projects.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that was spurred because of the possibility of putting the high school
Yeah.
down there. And they hired the grant company, they found some tanks, they still don't know what type of they are, but it could be an old car, but they found some metal, so they had to go, and now they're going for a grant, the city's going for the grant.
Yeah. All right.
Are there any more questions about the McManus? Everybody's all set with that? Okay, can you give us a little bit on the other site there and just,
Sure. So the proposed mitigation site is 2 Needham's Landing Road. It's in the River Camden neighborhood, and it's a former Little League baseball field that overlooks the Saugus River. This was a site that was identified by the city for us to consider. We've met with a number of officials on the site, including the state representative that we're working with the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, that's Melissa Cryan. One of the things that's unique about this site is that it's rather low-lying, and it's, I think, for that reason that it's fallen out as a Little League field. There was initial thought that this could be restored as a Little League field, but it became apparent to us when we started looking at some of the topography of that site as well as the vegetation that's apparent out there, that it really is wants to be reclaimed by the river in some respects. And so we viewed this as more of a natural amenity that could be created for the public. One of the things that is in the city's 2016 open space plan, which I mentioned in the permitting narrative, is the need for spaces like this specifically on the river. And so with that in mind, we've developed the concepts in front of you, which would involve basically, a major cleanup of the site. There's a number of pieces of kind of abandoned property out there, or approach property, as well as debris piles, rubble, rusting concrete, piles, those kinds of things. Quite a bit of trash and debris. We're going to come in and we'll be removing all of that, and then looking to do a number of landscaping improvements. We chose an approach for proposal to the city that involves much more of kind of like soft-scape landscaping, I would say. We didn't want to go too far with a proposed hardscape, which you could envision benches, picnic tables, other types of features out there. A number have been suggested. We felt that the character of the site, if you look at the topography map that's on there on that first page, the spring high tide, so that's kind of a once every 6 months or so, is coming up towards the back of the site. So this is an area that does get periodically inundated just due to high tides. Storm surge also can be something that could impact the site. So we wanted something that could ride out that condition and then recover, and then essentially continue to be a space for public to visit. So it's kind of it's really at the water's edge, and so we embrace that.
I walked the site. I think the site is very intriguing. Lisa has been out there, April's been out there. It's looking across the river to Saugus. There's no development over there whatsoever, so it's really quite a nice natural area there. So what you're proposing is $125,000 to do the early requirements, remove the debris, do some plantings and things like that. And then later on, the Park Commission, in conjunction with us, will have to come up with a plan for future things like that. And I believe that you've been able to identify a couple of possible grants that may be out there for something that is in this type of habitat area.
Yeah, we would love to find additional sources of funding to complement what the commission's contributing. So we haven't explored that in depth.
Yeah.
But if we can find ways to increase the budget and do more, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
George, a question for you. Attorney Mark Coppola here tonight. I don't know who will be the agent when this money comes over. Who oversees the cash? Who makes the payments? Does it come to the city? How does that whole thing work?
Well, that's something we could negotiate. I mean, this matter will have to come before the city council for a 2/3 vote, and I imagine they would want, and I have spoken to Mr. Fennell earlier in the evening, they will want a memorandum of understanding setting forth specifically what the scope of work is, the assigned monies perhaps, and I have spoken to the comptroller. Perhaps there could be an agreement between Lynn Water and Sewer and the City of Lynn to dedicate that money in a City of Lynn revolving account so that it's expended in a certain way. That's a possibility. I'll leave that up to the council.
Yeah. And could the Park Commission vote that those funds go into something like that, and funds could not be expended out of there until the Park Commission had an approval? Would that be proper?
Certainly, if the council so desired, that could make it a stipulation of the agreement and the vote.
Kind of like we do up at Gannon,
Absolutely.
that account up there, so, Anybody have any questions or?
I just would like to bring to your attention a couple of things
Yep.
that should be clear. The city of Lynn does not own this Needham's Landing field at this moment. We have an express right of reverter within the deed. There's specific language in the deed that allows for, once the use has been abandoned, and has been abandoned for several years, that we can petition the land court. We will do so immediately upon your vote this evening, if it is a favorable vote, to reclaim that land. So that's how we would get the land. That's how we would make it available as a replacement piece of property to assist Lynn Water and Sewer.
Okay.
And one other thing that you should be aware of, this vote to accept this Needham's Landing as replacement land does require a unanimous vote of your body this evening.
And it also has to go to the Conservation Commission?
It has several steps to go, but your vote tonight is the first step.
Right. Anybody have any more questions? Everybody understands what we're doing? So,
So you have to make 2 motions then?
George, what would our first motion need to be to legally cover what the state needs? And
Unless the engineer has something that I'm not aware of, there would have to be a vote out of your body this evening identifying Needham's Landing as suitable replacement property to assist Lynn Water and Sewer in the water and sewer construction project that they're doing.
okay, so somebody can get some language to.
Yeah, the permitting narrative, we had Melissa Crang with the state review this, and she said that this is, the package that we've presented is all that's needed. And really, I think it's just the Article 97 land disposition policy simply states that we need to obtain a unanimous vote of municipal park commission if the land proposed for disposition is parkland. So we just need a vote, a motion presented that would be in support of everything that's been presented in the package.
Okay, I'm not going to remember all that. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, yes.
All right, so we would need a motion to accept the package as presented to us. Everyone's happy with that? You
I'll
making
make the motion.
Second? Okay, any further questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, good luck.
So now we have to make a second motion for.
Okay, so
for
we
George.
need that the funds be dedicated, put in ask that the request be put in a revolving account?
You can make a motion that or a recommendation that the city council consider
Okay,
placing those funds in a separate account, revolving account, to satisfy the purposes for which Lynn Water and Sewer wants to rehabilitate the replacement land.
okay, we could put also requiring park commission approval, or is that?
Well, you can recommend it.
Okay, okay,
That's, the disposition of funds is beyond your jurisdiction.
right, right.
However, you could certainly request that the council consider that.
It's more the concept of what is going to happen when, so all of a sudden, somebody doesn't decide they want to put a jungle gym down on the waterfront, yeah? So that's kind of,
That would be in the form of a recommendation to the council.
okay, so when do you want to make that motion? What he said.
Yeah.
He'll get that language to her, or something.
Recommend to the city council that they consider establishing a revolving fund to place any monies that are deposited by Lynn Water and Sewer with the city of Lynn, if that so is in fact the agreement between the city of Lynn and Water and Sewer. I mean, Water and Sewer may not be able to do that. They may have to expend the
Okay.
funds directly.
Okay.
But if it's available, perhaps the council can recommend it.
Yeah. I imagine that at some point there's going to be more discussion about an actual plan for this. I mean, where things are going to go and what we're going to do, and will some of that require park commission approval if it becomes parkland?
Water and sewer, we'll be working with you
Yeah.
to make sure that it gets us up to the one, no change of plans, whatever. I think that would be an important relationship that we have built in. We'd go along with your recommendation, of course, this is a conceptual design, but you're the eventual owners of it,
Right,
so we want to make sure it's what you want. as well.
Right.
But
There's a lot of different thoughts here, what, maybe possibly could happen.
Right, so this is just the conceptual side, just so you have an understanding of what we're planning on doing and what it might look like. You captured, as Emerson would say, but again, we want to spend less on the kiosk, more on plantings or whatever, that's only working one-on-one with you.
Emerson, are we presenting this concept to the state, so when, whatever the state filings are and all that stuff, this is kind of stated for what's going to happen there?
Yes, correct. Subject to any refinements that other city officials have as we get through this month. Yes.
Okay.
The other thing I'll add is that the Commission will be filing a notice of project change with the Massachusetts Environmental Protection Agency. And through that, we could provide whatever additional definition or assurances that are needed. And then that'll become state law that would, the Commission would be bound to as we proceed with the remainder of this combined source.
So the Park Commission will get a chance to look at that again?
Yes, that's the intent, yes.
Okay, so does somebody want to make a vote that is a recommendation to set up a revolving account and whatever other language George thinks should be there? Okay, we'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Just one clarification, going back to the initial threshold motion, I just want to make it clear that the city of Lynn today does not own that
Right.
land. We've had this discussion with the
Yes,
engineer.
yes.
Based upon your vote this evening, we will move forward expeditiously to recoup and get that land reverted back to the
Okay.
city of Lynn, as long as everybody's clear about that.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yep, we are. Okay, we're all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Okay.
May 14th, you're all
Item number 2, Edward Mendez, Iglesia Cristiana Torrente de Cedron. Request to use Linwoods for a run walk on June 22nd, 2019, from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Well, you're going to be out there a long time, huh?
Oh, yeah, long time.
So why don't you tell us what's going on? Yeah, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, so I went to the DPW to request the Lynn vocational field, but April was so gracious to inform us that it will be under construction during that time. And then we requested Lynn English, and I guess it was also the carnival, I think, was there at that time. So April suggested that we reach out to Ranger Dan and see if we can have the walk out on the woods. So that's why I'm here.
So you've talked with him, and he's all set with what?
I was pending your approval to reach out to Ranger Dan.
Okay, yeah, because he knows what's going on up there, and we have nothing else planned for that date, do we? Are there any questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Number 3, Daniel Dulong, Lynn Firefighters Union, request use of Linwoods for a run walk September 14, 2019, with a rain date of 9/21.
That's an annual.
That's an annual?
Yeah. They came in last year.
Okay, someone want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Junior Makuna, did I have that right?
That's Congolisana?
Oh, did I say it wrong?
How you doing?
Not too bad, what's going
Yes,
on?
I'm here to represent Congolisana actually. My name is Jose Diogo. And with Jean-Pierre Musanga. We're here like been for years now, since probably 2007, 2008.
Yep.
We always request a field for summer for our community. That's the way we enjoy, the park, the kids, and most is because of soccer. We do a little tournament. And we used to have another park before, but 5-6 years ago they gave us the same park at Fright Park.
Yep.
The one in Walnut Street. So that's the reason why I'm here tonight.
And the state's open.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the board?
I think that you have probably all the dates. Usually we get the field beginning of July until end of August.
Yep.
And then we get the field only Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And especially this year, we asked a little bit earlier, like in May. I think Jean-Pierre Musanga precise it on the email, like around May 18. For the youth, getting to know each other. There's a few members of the community we live in Lynn right now to get along together. Training for the soccer. It's a big community now, so we request, for May, some dates on June, but especially July to August.
Okay.
All right. And the second thing that I want to ask, since I'm in charge of it, we have a problem with the football pole, because usually when we try to play soccer, we always want to call, St. Mary, because they told us that the owners of the boards is St. Mary.
Yeah, St. Mary's owns the soccer nets.
So my question is, since we don't know where to buy the poles or where to rent it, because we try so many times, but the people actually, they're nice, they come and open it for us. And there's no way for them this time to probably leave the poles open for us, because we just put the pole, finish playing, and then we put them back. That way we don't have any issue.
Yeah, it's, I don't know.
So maybe you can work with, I think it's Mike D'Agostino, the soccer coach over at St. Mary's, or the athletic director, Jeff Newell, and maybe get a key and, lock them yourself up so they're not all over the fields. All right, so I would recommend that. So you can see April, and she can give you their contact
I'm going to
information.
talk to John Pierre on Sunday about it, because he knows the coach personally.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure you can work something out, so.
And just be courtesy for the neighborhoods with the parking, we have,
Yes.
up in that area. So if you don't mind parking on Walnut Street,
Walnut Street, yeah.
and then any additional parkings, just,
Yeah. Usually on that part, we don't really have issue. I mean, it's been more than 10 years we get to see them.
Yeah.
So we really, we know how to talk to our people about this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
and just clean up after.
Yeah, true.
How long, what's the time frame when you're out there, for how many hours are you out there? per
So
day?
usually they give us the field from 1 to 6.
1 to 6, what about bathrooms?
That's another problem. We don't have bathrooms.
Okay.
Right, and I think last year when we went here, I think Jean-Pierre Moussana mentioned it, to probably bring us those.
Porta potties?
Yeah, so I don't know if this year they can probably find some for us.
I mean, we do have a bathroom, but you'd have to clean it.
No, probably don't mind. So probably going to be few people, we can engage to do that. But yes, of course, if you can have at least 1 or 2, would be great.
No, it's in the building.
Is it in the building?
It's in the building.
In the fight park?
Yeah,
Oh,
on Walnut Street.
It's like the brown building?
Yes.
And yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
But you always be locked since we
Right,
started.
so we
We can talk about it and figure something out.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank
yeah,
you very much.
but you definitely would have to stock your own toilet paper
Yeah.
and hand soap.
Do they
and
clean it
towels,
themselves, or
and
we get
They
it?
would have to clean it themselves.
But they've required at the end of the season to pay for actual cleaning company to come in and clean at the end.
So instead of because we still got our money here, deposit, we got the 240. So if you want the bathrooms, you have to add money for that too?
Yes.
Okay. So I think probably if you can send us an email about it, I can share it, let's say
Yep.
if we need the bathroom, we need extra money.
Right. Yep, I can outline that for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are there any more questions?
No?
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Have a good
Okay,
night.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Aaron Wardwell, you said that's the person that's unable to make it tonight?
Yes.
And that's an annual event.
That's an
too.
annual event? What, they got a league going on, they do it from May 6th to July 29th?
I already talked to Jill Avery. She's aware of Pine Hill Little League, the Gallagher.
Yep.
There's Dave Gales,
What do they use the Little League field, or-
He uses the softball field.
softball field.
and that's controlled by,
Well, she
Pine Hill?
just has everything going on, always
She's
going on
everything
down
going
there,
on
so
up
but she's aware.
So she's okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay, are there any further questions? Anybody got a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Any further questions? All in favor? Mr. Gass, what's going on?
We're having our 11th annual World Music Festival at High Rock Park. We did last year because that's where the immigrant folks are up in multinational. And we use we got our permits, we got KIP to supply parking, and we're partners for this. And we had a food truck and two we got permit for that. And we had a festival, I'll just show you, this is from last year, I don't recognize any of you came to it, but you all invited this from last year to show you what we did. And And we have, this year, two things we're doing. We're doing a lot, focusing on dancing of different ethnic. There was a French article last year, Jewish dancing, African dancing. This year, we're going to add Punjabi dancing with a belly dancer. So that's not for the guys, but the girls. But anyway, and we want to add this year an element. We opened the tower last year. Maybe 100 people were up the tower, but there was nothing recognizing the great history of the area. So what we want to do is add posters inside High Rock Tower that depict Hutchinson family, Ryan Mitchell, famous scientist, the relationship of Frederick Douglass, the relationship, and with the great mayor Ben Buffin, who all were together with abolitionism. We want to depict that inside the tower, so to promote the great history of what the park is all about. So we're trying to get things together for that. And so we work with Essex County Historic Commission supporting us, and they have Trails and Sails, the biggest event in the county around the time. So that's why we moved our festival to September 21st with the rain date of September 28th. Because we're asking you for the use of that park. We'll have porta potties as before, and that's the summary. Maybe also we'll have arts there too. We're trying to maybe paint party kind of thing where the kids can be painting. So mix it. So we want to start at 12 o'clock and end at dark, which is about 7.
How many people did you have last year?
300.
And you expect about the same this year?
Yeah, more because of the historic, because of
Yep.
we spread around the county, will know about this. No, very few came from Salem, Peabody, in that area, but I think with the Trails and Sails involved, they celebrate all the historic areas and
Yep.
put together rosters.
Yep.
This should add people.
These are things you'll put up inside the tower. That's just for a one-day thing. You'll take them down afterwards and...
No, well, we like to show the tower year-round and to all the school kids. This was done before Dr. Crane had a grant that you could see the tower and you get a tour of the tower
Yep,
and
yep.
a verbal history of it. But we'd like to leave those posters up. I want to show you samples of what we're talking about so that historically we're accurate. And,
Well, I'd like to make sure that
Yeah.
community development, John Mulberger, because if it's,
Yeah.
if it's something you're just not gonna put up and take down, then
yeah, I'd
it
like to-
becomes kind of permanent, and so I wanna make sure that, as you know, the content has gotta be,
Right, yeah.
verified.
Yeah, we run it by Tom Dalton is
Yeah.
working with us. He wrote the book recently about Frederick Douglass. He says, let's work together on this and research it accurately. I see this as a national thing because Mariah Mitchell was the first woman scientist in the country. And she came here as an abolitionist and as a Quaker.
Yep.
And very interesting history, so we want to make sure it's right on the accuracy.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that John's on board, so.
Right, yeah, excellent.
Because, what you think is an idea and other people think is an idea may not be the same, so.
Right, exactly, right, yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions, or
You have
Lisa?
insurance, Dave, insurance, insurance for the...
Yes,
event.
insurance like last year, we had insurance, one day insurance, sure.
So you've got your parking arrangements all set up? You've talked to Chris Reddy?
Not yet, not yet. Once we get the dates established, we had parking, we have the kids, the high school kids from Kip would help with the parking as we did last year.
Yep, yeah.
So we really, I'm in touch with Chris, I met him last week, and we'll talk what he needs, because frankly, within 100 feet of the festival, we found needles in the ground. And that's what we want to change, because
Yeah.
the city has put $1 million, Jamie Marsh has worked tirelessly, and they've gotten so much money put in, but you need to bring the people back to secure that park.
Sure.
That's all.
Yep. Any other questions? No? Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
all righty. Make sure you check in with John Mulberger on that
I will.
stuff, so.
And we just have Steve.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
last but not least.
Well, I don't have too much for you. We made our first payment to the city last week things would be going well if it didn't
Some
rain. Golf course is in good shape, but the rain is.
How the membership's going?
Kill everybody.
It's a little hard to tell you. You know, I should have something for you next month. You know, a lot of people aren't back yet. You don't know who's not joining, who is.
Oh, you mean the people that go to Florida and stuff?
Right, they're not back yet. They're
When
smart.
are most of your memberships purchased by generally?
Usually by May 15th.
By May 15th?
Yeah, the money's coming in. It's going out. It's America.
It certainly is. So the course is in pretty good shape?
Of course, in real good shape. You know, came through the winter well. So that's half the battle. You know, we're looking forward to doing that project. You probably heard about all that, the environmental thing there.
Yep.
So that's really on track. Mark Mungeon said he's designing the stuff up. So hopefully get something out to bid this summer.
So they're targeting that for a fall project, late fall?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Murphy?
Nope.
The other project last fall came out great.
Yeah.
So I held up.
Yeah, I have to go up and take a look at that. I haven't been
That
up there.
looks
so
good. Looks good.
I'll come up, you can give me a tour.
Okay.
That stands for any commissioner would like
Just
to
let
go
me
up there
know.
and take a
You
tour.
guys all have my number.
Okay.
We'll put it out on the TV.
That's up to you.
No.
You may get some calls you don't want.
I know.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the commission? Motion to adjourn? Motion, second, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.